you so much for joining us this morning on Camnet TV. To all of you that are tuned in, welcome to the Rise and Thrive Breakfast Show. This morning, I'm Joe Smarter. Now, today happens to be Police Day, and obviously we are recognizing our hardworking men and women in uniform. And you can do us a favor by going to our page and mentioning that police officer that you know. I know a few from the top of my head. At least I'll start with Sekem Chaila, Mr. Ray Hamonga, the police spokesperson, Mr. Godfrey Chilavi, and many others hardworking women and men in uniform. But joining me is a youth advocate, Mr. Jason MWANZA. He joins me to discuss national matters, among them a lot of matters to be discussed this morning. Mr. MWANZA, good to see you and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me once again, and good morning to the viewers.
Okay, fantastic. Let's go back to Friday. Now, Friday saw the Republican president, going to National Assembly where he addressed Parliament and the nation at large, giving us an update on the progress made in the application of our national values and principles. Let me begin with you. Let me find out from you, rather, what was your takeaway during the presidential address?
Well, I think, mainly there are quite a number of things that were expected of the president.
Okay.
In terms of things to be addressed. I think the Zambian people are at a point where they feel talking is not working out. We want to see actions. And so we wanted to see the vitals to be addressed, like the cost of living, especially the lack of jobs, and unfortunately, we couldn't take away much because from the address, there were no applicable solutions that were offered, apart from, the famous CDF that was talked about, which has not seen much impact in society today. It is very disappointing that as a nation, we are still at a point where, the leaders are playing those type of politics where they think they can just come to a people, mention one or two things, and the people are going to cheer for them. I think that time has already passed. The nation is in a mess today. What we need are practical solutions, and that we did not receive from our president, unfortunately.
Okay. Now, before we delve into this matter, Mr. MWANZA, let's quickly go to our newspaper pick and see what the papers are saying so that you can be given an opportunity to weigh in. Now, we start with the News Diggers. Now, the News Diggers runs with the headline, PF Towns HH, he will still leave power with a chair glued to his, we won't say that word because it is not TV friendly, but we would like Mr. MWANZA obviously to react to that particular statement. Mr. MWANZA will be reacting to that particular statement. Mr. MWANZA, that particular headline, your 2 cents?
Well, you see, it is unfortunate that this is what politics is about now in Zambia. Okay. And as you can see, that's a headline. It's a headline. I could give you practical solutions here in terms of what youths want and what would work for them. Okay. None of that is going to make the headlines, unless if it's about those. I don't want to mention the names, in respect to the fact that this is a TV station.
Okay.
But it was, and unfortunately, it was the head of state who started this, and this wasn't his first time, uttering such sensitive words as a head of state. As a head of state, you're already on the chair. Your opposition at the Zambian people, work for the people. Do away with always blaming the Patriotic Front, going after the Patriotic Front. Leave them alone. They are in opposition now. They are doing what they are doing. Let the UPND do what it's supposed to do, because it is the one that is in power today. Okay. It's not about, in fact, they banned Lungu from standing in 2026. They said he's not eligible. But why do they keep coming for him? And this is from the head of state. Why do they keep coming for him? It is time for them to work. So when I see such a headline, I understand it is provoked by the ruling party, and so it is only obvious that the opposition is going to react. But what we need are practical solutions that are going to assist the Zambian people. And I think this is one of the things that has also tainted the Zambian politics. Relevant things, sensible things don't make the headlines.
Okay.
Unless if it's about that.
Okay. Let's go back to the same newspaper, dear director, so that Mr. Mwanza can continue weighing down on the sub-headline of that particular newspaper. So we'll be going back to the news diggers, Mr. Mwanza, so that we can look at some of the sub-headlines therein. So there you have it there. Price hike will help us deliver quality. Okay, we leave that one. Company sues Sino Metals for environmental damage. Now, Mr. Mwanza, you will agree with me that a lot of damage has been done due to the, for lack of a better term, negligence from a mining company on the copper belt, which has seen fish having to be wasted in the Kafue River, Mr. Mwanza, and obviously damage to the environment. Let's kindly weigh on that. The company said they are sorry for that particular, for negligence, obviously. They said that they are sorry, but the general public is saying more damage has been done, and a company can't just say they are sorry for the damage that they did.
Most definitely. I think that so is long overdue.
Okay.
It is high time that as a people we became serious in taking care of our environment with a sense of trying to leave a legacy for future generations than just benefiting in the now.
Okay.
A lot of these companies that are set up only want to make dollars and then leave when the land is damaged. We need to understand as a country that we only have one Zambia, and this is the Zambia that we have. If we don't take care of it, no one will.
Okay.
It doesn't have to take people from outside the country to come and take care of our own home. We need to take care of it. And so even when other people come in, of course, we're not an island, we welcome investment. But anybody in the name of investment, should do it adequately. And we need to set up procedures and boundaries.
Okay.
The Zambian government should also take in interest in this, where they look into the lives of the Zambian people and not only, benefiting the so-called investors. Because these are people that are only interested in profit. They don't care about the environment, they don't care about the people. And so when the people are affected, it is only, it is vital, it is important that they take such actions in suing. And there is no way that a company is going to come and say sorry. Okay? That is very hypocritical, because at the end of the day, they knew from the word go that what they are doing has got an impact on the environment. What they are doing, their investment, their setup, their company has got an impact on the environment. And these are assessments that the government should begin to take, keen interest in. We should not be keen in killing our businesses, our local investors. We should also take in interest in these so-called, foreign investors. Before they set up, we should understand in the long run, how is this going to affect our people? So that we are able to mitigate. The future generations should still find a better Zambia than what we are living in today. And so if we keep destroying our nation or leaving our nation to be destroyed in the name of investors, these are people that are creating jobs and so what, so not, we are going to, have no land left to give to our children. So I'm very pleased to see that the Zambian people are taking action in protecting what is theirs. And this is long overdue. We should do more of this, because there are a number of companies, comrade, that need to be followed up by the Zambian people. And this leads me to the fact that as we are doing this, we need to give a breather to our local investors. We need to give a breather to our youths. In terms of businesses, when you look at our taxes today, it's very pathetic. When you look at, the duty taxes, people can't even import. You can't even buy a car, comrade, from outside as a youth, because it is too heavy. But it is investors like these ones who come and set up in our rural areas, in our national parks, in places that are supposed to be reserved, who are given tax breaks and tax holidays by the government, and they are not followed up. We need to take an interest as a nation in protecting what is ours.
Okay, fantastic. Let's go to the mass newspaper, another daily tabloid, and see what their headline is, so that Mr. Mwanza here can weigh on this particular headline. Now, there goes a headline there that says, "Don't set Zambia on fire. Opposition warns UPND over 2022 census report." We'll be coming back to this particular newspaper, but would like Mr. Mwanza to weigh in on this particular headline. Now, Mr. MWANZA, that particular headline is inspired by the census report, a summary report that was released, is it a fortnight ago, where civil commission chairperson, Mr. Dr. Cholwe Beyani, made mention that he's not in agreeable with this particular report because apparently he wasn't consulted, and the ZAMSTATs didn't follow the presidential directives according to reports. And since we were there, we heard what he said, and it went viral. Now, other stakeholders are saying, look, ZAMSTATs is an independent body, in as much as it is a state institution. Now, here is the chairperson of the Civil Service Commission who says he wasn't consulted and ZAMSTATs didn't follow the presidential directive. We have heard government officials saying Zambian population is 20 million. ZAMSTAT says we are 19 point something million. Mr. MWANZA, these are government officials and this is a state-owned institution. Where are the disparities coming from?
Well,
the inconsistencies.
I wouldn't want to seem like I'm politicking, but I know of a man who promised us of the best in all angles and all sectors, and this is what we are getting. I wouldn't want to say things that would implicate me, because this indeed has got capacity and potential to set the nation on fire.
Okay.
If you look at that statement where the opposition is warning the UPND not to set the nation on fire, especially regarding to the same census, you understand that these are politicians, because their interest is in the numbers, that are showing, compared to also the numbers, that were showing in 2021 prior to the election. There's a very distinct relationship. Okay, so if there's a discrepancy, then it shows you that perhaps there was something wrong in the voting pattern of the 2021 elections, and that in itself has got capacity to set the nation on fire.
Okay.
And so my advice is, me being broke, who can't afford the lawyer, my advice is these are things that need to
be very careful. So that you are not charged for seditious practices.
Exactly. That is a darling of the UPND, by the way. But these are things that are in public domain, and these are their mistakes. These are linen that should be washed, okay? Whether we like it or not, as we are heading towards 2026. It is such things that can indeed make someone leave the chair glued to their, as they are walking away. These are things that should be addressed, okay? If presidential directives were not followed, then indeed we were supposed to see the president himself taking keen interest in this matter.
Okay.
They need to understand, if we have a proper number of people in the country, then you know how to manage disaster. You know how to distribute inputs.
Okay.
You know who is where, in terms of density, in terms of population.
So wait, Mr. MWANZA. What we got from the Civil Service Commission chairperson, Dr. Cholwe Beyani, disputing this summary report from ZAMSTATs, that it has got so many discrepancies, the presidential directive was not followed. That simply means that as we sit here and as our viewers tune in right now watching us, it means that Zambia's population is unknown.
Is unknown. The president doesn't know the people that he is leading. Let's just put it clear and blank. We have a president who is blind to the number of people he is leading. We have a father who has no idea how many children he has. You are not a good father, all right? We have parents who are in charge of us, the children, and they don't know the number of children that they have.
So how do you budget for children?
Exactly the point. How do you budget? How do you mitigate disasters? How do you comfort your children? How do you know who is where and what is what? Okay. How do you know what they need? How do you equally distribute wealth? I just saw the theme for Women's Day this year. I think it's in line with all women, girls, equal rights in terms of wealth distribution and all that. With the moment that the reason why I did not take in interest in it is because as long as the issue of the numbers is not sorted out, you are in no position to talk about equality, to talk about equal distribution of wealth, because you don't know the number of women you have.
Let me ask you this question, Mr. Mwanza. As a youth, a young person, an advocate, are stakeholders, including government officials, members of parliament, civil society organizations, taking this matter seriously? Because these are serious matters that we are supposed to look at with, number one, a sober mind. Two, we need to apply critical thinking when looking at these matters. As stakeholders in this country, treating this matter with the seriousness that it deserves.
I think we haven't really treated it with the seriousness that it deserves.
Okay.
This is actually dangerous for a nation to not know its populace. It is very, very dangerous for a president to not know the number of people in the country. It is very dangerous. Look, the civil society today, okay, is scared because of the picture that the UPND has painted. Anybody who speaks, who looks like they're in opposition, is going to be tainted with the, with practicing seditious.
Isn't one of the tenets of democracy to allow divergent views?
That is exactly what the UPND has lacked in their reign. In their term in office, they have lacked, transparency. Number one, they have lacked. Because at the end of the day, when you are in politics, and especially in a democratic dispensation like this one, you need to have tolerance as a government. And that is what UPND has lacked. How many people do you know, or how many people have you reported on, who have been slapped with the case of seditious practice? There are countless number of people, including myself here. All right? And I can tell you for a fact, I am a victim. I am a victim of the UPND's, harsh, illegal arrest. I will call it an illegal arrest because it never took off at the end of the day.
Okay.
All right. So this is what the UPND has lacked. So at the end of the day, the civil society has gone into hiding. The people that are supposed to be speaking have gone into hiding. When in the actual sense, we're supposed to take this matter with the importance that it deserves, with the importance that it actually carries. It is very dangerous for a president to be leading the people, a number of people, when he is not sure the actual number, of the people that he is leading. We need to know. It is good for our budgeting. It is good for disaster management. It is good for, future endeavors as well. We need to know the number of people that are in the nation. But if we're going to be having discrepancies in terms of, census reports, then we are able to tell that this government probably this is the best that they promised to give the Zambian people. Now I can tell that the Zambian people are looking forward to 2026 because 2026 is fast approaching. Okay. But I want to urge the Zambian people that as we are still waiting for 2026, when your voice is going to be louder, when no one is going to oppress you on that day, we still need to speak today. Don't be cowards. If we're going to be arrested for saying the truth, then it is better we get arrested in at least an attempt to protect our nation, in an attempt to protect our dignity. Can you imagine the embarrassment that is upon Zambia today to the outside world when they look at us and they see that we are a nation who doesn't even know the actual number of people that we have in the country? Can you imagine the shame that Zambian people are looking around it?
Why are we missing it, Mr. Mwanza?
Leadership. We do not have quality leadership. And these are presidential orders, so it can tell you where it is coming from. If people cannot follow presidential orders, then it tells you something about leadership. This is about leadership. This is about the selection of people, even those that are in offices. I want to appeal to them to be, patriotic to the people, to leave a good legacy. At least let there be a moment when the people of Zambia in future are going to say, in 2022, we had the census and it was accurate because such a person was in office. Such a person did this. Such a person contributed to this. This is a matter of leadership, and this is something that Zambia has lacked for quite a while now. We have lacked quite, a good quality leadership. When we, after the 2021 elections, one thing that we were promised, I keep mentioning this, the reason is that the politicians must come to a point where when they promise, they should fulfill. We were promised a leadership that was going to set the bar high. We were promised a cabinet that was going to set the bar high, something that this nation has never seen before. On that aspect, in terms of something that this nation has never seen before, of course, that is achieved, quite achieved, because we have never seen such confusion. We have never seen such discrepancies. especially in terms of sensitive information like this one. But when it comes to quality leadership, I think that is something that has to be worked on.
Let me ask you this question. We had our forefathers that fought for independence, and obviously they had a youthful cabinet. I think the first Republican president was 42. I stand to be corrected, but it was a youthful cabinet anyway. Now, yesterday, some youths were having a conversation saying that maybe, just maybe, our fathers in parliament, in government officials, in government offices, they have failed us. Maybe what Zambia needs is a youthful person to take the mantle of leadership. And there was a suggestion that was brought about that most members of parliament that are occupying those seats are not leaders. I'm reporting what was being said. Are not leaders, but these are cadres picked from various political parties, taken into parliament because of party affiliation and loyalty to the party, and hence we are subjected to that kind of debate, the quality of debate that we see in parliament. And they made mention of other parliamentarians from other national assemblies, if you like, the House of Commons in the UK, the Ugandan parliament, the Kenyan parliament, the Malawian parliament, and also not forgetting the South African parliament, the quality of debate, the issue-based debates that they have. And they said Zambia is having these debates, the kind of debates that it has, because we have taken cadres to National Assembly. I want to pick your thoughts from that. This is what young people were discussing yesterday, and I thought I could report. Obviously, they are watching right now, and maybe I can pick your mind on that.
That analysis is actually correct. The reason being that political parties are interested in winning elections and not saving generations. And that is a very big problem. So what they do is they will do anything to win an election. If you followed keenly the campaign that was there in Petauke, Pambashe, Kawambo, yes, you would discover that all political parties were just mentioning, we are winning this one. No matter what, we are winning this one. What about the people of Pambashe winning? Why can't you prioritize those people? So for them, it's about, let's pick someone who is popular. Why don't you pick someone with values, with morals, someone who's got leadership qualities? So in other words, if you want to win elections, you must have money, dish out money, so that you become popular, and that is what qualifies leadership in Zambia today. And when you take those people to parliament now, there is nothing that they can offer apart from regaining what they lost during campaigns. And that cycle has been repeated time and again. So you will see that when it is time for campaigns, people want to eat. All those handouts and all that are as a result of that thing that has been
that's an investment.
That is an investment.
Someone is investing.
Exactly the point.
So when they bring t-shirts, party t-shirts, party regalia, chitenge materials or wrappers, it has somebody is investing.
Somebody is investing. Somebody is investing. And the people now perceive that as a time for them to eat something. So they don't talk about ideologies. They don't care about the ideas that somebody comes with. It is about the pockets of political aspirants. Beyond that, they do not care. So when that person wins, you will find that that person will be in oblivion. They will not be seen anywhere unless when it is time for elections. I always tell the people, if people can come and kill cows, they can come and kill pigs, they cook pork for you, beef, ishima, during campaigns. And you feel that's a demonstration of love. And after they win, for the next 4 years, they disappear. Can't you question yourself that if that was an act of love, wouldn't it be a continuous thing? Because you need those things almost every day. You see, these people will show up during funerals, at funerals, offering coffins, offering transport, when it is time for campaigns. After they win those campaigns, they will run away, trying to regain now what they invested.
You know what, Mr. MWANZA, I'm even surprised that what you're talking about has even trickled down to wards, offices such as a councillor. A councillor is absent. You are calling the councillor. The councillor doesn't pick up the phone.
Exactly.
If it's us in the media, you are calling to find out the flood situation in their area. And I can name a few councillors, but out of respect, we'll leave it there. You call them, you want a comment from them. Some of them are blank.
That there are no
What
way
kind
to
of
say
leaders are we
it is
subjected
because of
to?
that same system that has been created. So political parties will pick somebody who somehow has like is popular in the compounds, pump in chunks of money so that they go out there and start dishing out money, being found in funerals. And because they've created that system, remember, after elections, people still want the councillor to be available at the funeral. And the councillor now at this particular point in time are nowhere to be seen. If you don't want to mention names, I stood in 2021 and I can tell you that Nyoni, the councillor for Kalingalinga, is nowhere to be seen today. He even shifted from Kalingalinga. He is now out of his own ward.
He's out of his own
He's
ward.
out of his own ward. And this is the kind of leadership that we have now. He is nowhere to be seen now. He was always with the people, always moving around, following people door to door. And of course, that guy won, on the basis of the political party. He's not a leader. And he has proven now that he's not a leader because he's nowhere to be seen. And these are the people that we need to kick out of office today.
So
these are now, they've become Facebook politicians. They always report or cash for transfer. Exactly the point.
Let me find out. You're talking about, though we are not here to discuss people that are not here, but let me find out, since you've mentioned that individual, cash for work, is it working in your ward, in your constituency? Are you seeing people that are clearing drainages, that are working?
If I tell you that people got paid once, only a few people once, people today, since last year, haven't gotten anything. Since the time that it started, people have worked, people have, and so now, as a result, people are giving up. And these are things, these are lies that are being peddled, that these things are working.
Sustainable?
Of course it is not. Of course it is not. How much is it? When does somebody get it? Okay, it is not sustainable. It is not working. You cannot. In fact, I mentioned this during the time of cooperative, when the UPND went all out, all throttle, calling for cooperatives. I said you cannot develop a nation based on cooperatives. Cooperatives failed. They promised huge amounts of money. It failed. What about this Duma 600 that they're giving people? You think that is going to sustain people? People need jobs, quality jobs, jobs that are going to sustain them. This issue of drainages and all that is not a big deal because that can be done in a very short period of time. Kalingalinga, for example, is very strategic. We've got main drainages in Camnet, MWANZA there, Nangwenya Road. You just need filter drainages to go into the main drainages, and that problem of roads, floods, and whatever is going to be sorted out. Now, when it is sorted out, what happens to the people? They need strategic jobs that are going to sustain them for a very long period of time. We have already destroyed our ward. I'm coming from Kalingalinga ward, by the way.
Fantastic.
We have destroyed our ward. That area, the ZAF base, it's called Chimbote. It had a good land.
Oh, that's where the water is coming from.
That water is
along Ali Kinkata.
Yes, people die there. You just saw a report of two girls who were drowned.
Two girls that drowned from there.
Because water is stagnant there. People have built houses there. That land is sold off. We would have had a high school in Kalingalinga just on that land. All right, we would have recreation facilities on that land. That land would have been a source of employment for many, many of our young people. But today it is sold off. And this is the system that most of our councillors come with. They don't understand Kalingalinga. They don't understand our land very well. Us who were born there, we know, okay, how that land can develop. And these are things that we must take in interest in. We need to, going into 2026, we need to have our own leader. And that is my point. So, these people are nowhere to be seen. And so when you have that type of, those type of leaders, even when you take them to parliament, you're going to have useless debates because they have no knowledge about leadership. To them, being the loudest is being a good leader. You will see that even in cabinet ministries, you will find cabinet ministers who are just cadres, who are the loudest, and so they pick them. This you will see also some people with Tuntemba political parties, 4 people, 5 people, they call themselves presidents. They come into an alliance and they get picked. They are given a ministry. Then they go get their relatives to fill that ministry. When you give a ministry to somebody who called themselves a president, forget about all the positions, going to the genuine Zambian people. They're going to pick their so-called cadres, fill them in because that is their benefit. And this is how bad, the nation is today. You've got a lot of people. I can mention them. Okay, you've got Mutati, you've got Mirupi. These are people that call themselves presidents. When you give them positions, ministerial position, you give them the position of Minister of Technology, what do you think is going to happen to that, to the entire department? Infrastructure. What do you think will happen to the entire department? It's going to be filled up with all. Exactly. It's gone. I cannot find a job in that because I wasn't in his political party. I wasn't supporting his ideologies. So the person who's got 99% of finding a job is someone who was close to him, someone who who was with him during the time that he was forming his so-called political party.
We have seen now that you brought that, we have seen mayor drivers. It's not bad to be a driver. You possess a driver's license. It's okay, but at least if you are made head driver somewhere, people will say, yes, he's a driver.
Yeah.
But where individuals are elevated to the levels of, let's say, example, I'm giving you an example, minister, permanent secretary. Now, you tell a fresh graduate or somebody who's been looking for a job for 10 years, you tell them to say, we need people with master's degrees. And yet you have people that only possess a driver's license that expired 5 years ago, holding ministerial positions, holding PS positions. Some who do not even have any papers. They are permanent secretaries.
Definitely.
And now we are asking, where is equality here? Is it out of loyalty to a party? You know somebody, you are taken to that highest office, and we believe officers such as PS are supposed to be for those that have been in the civil service, let's say for 20 years or 10 years, that have risen through the rank. But successful governments, we have seen, they've continued to pick their cadres who praised you the most, PS, who praised you the most, minister. What is really happening to our governance system?
Leadership. We lack that quality leadership. We lack leadership education, even in our education system, starting from primary all the way to secondary, even in tertiary. Okay, we lack that education, that leadership education. You will see that if, I'll give you an example. Is it Fumba? What's that guy's name? Pilato. Okay, anyway. Chama Fumba. As you are saying, PS is supposed to be somebody who understands the system, someone who's been there for quite some time. They've risen through the ranks. And these are people who just sang a few songs here and there, and because they insulted, the then president here and there, and then they are picked to be PS. Okay? Is this how we are going to continue as a nation? When we have got people who have got the capacity. In fact, the problem that we have, the biggest problem that we have seen in many governments, including this government of the UPND, is the fact that they like picking people who've got small brains compared to the jobs that they are given. Jobs of PS, jobs of ministry, of minister, their brain capacity cannot contain and comprehend that ministerial position and the job that is supposed to be done. And so you see the disasters that are around. You will see corruption. You see scandals after scandals, and instead of fishing out these people, letting them rest so that they can, train well, maybe do other things, go back to a political party, they will reshuffle them. You find someone is minister of this today, tomorrow they are minister of what, because they had a scandal in that ministry. What? They are solving the problem. You're not solving the problem. You are taking more debt to a cleaner ministry. You understand? If you bring a dent to a white linen here, it dents the white linen. You're not going to remove the no. Let's put it on the cleaner linen. You're not solving the problem. You cannot spray perfume on a corpse and expect it to smell good. It's still going to smell bad. And this is the kind of system that we are riding with. Of course, taking back to our parliament debate. We have, I must mention, just for the sake of being fair, I must mention that there are quite a number of people that have got quality leadership, even in parliament today. You will see the likes of Binu Wampondo. These are people that have proven that they are able to stand up for the people of Zambia. And I said this because Binu Wampondo is an independent member of parliament. And so you will understand that their debates are not based on political interest, on political party interest. Their debates are not regulated by a political party, but rather by the mere interest and passion to serve the Zambian people, to serve the people of Nkana, to be specific. You will see people like Munia Zulu. That's an independent member of parliament as well. Okay, those are people that have also proven, to be speaking on behalf of the Zambian people. A number of them, you will see Kapianga, Francis Kapianga. He's also a member of parliament, I think, from Mpika.
Mpika.
Yes. Those are people that have also, spoken for the Zambian people. But when you look at people who have been quiet the entire stay in parliament, but when a political party decides to leave parliament, they follow through. Those are idiots. For lack of a better term, those are people that should be fished out of the system.
Mr. Mwanza, I'll ask you to retract that word. It's not TV.
I retract that word, and of course,
replace it with a more
friendly
way.
Those are people that don't care about the nation. Those are people that don't care about their people.
Fantastic.
Those are cadres from political parties who are just picked because they are popular. And the problem is, people don't want to listen. When during campaigns, pay particular attention to the message that is being delivered by these political aspirants. Somebody is aspiring to be a councillor. They are coming to talk about fuel. Vote for me because fuel is high. Those people, let us start checking. Councillors should trickle down to the problems that their people in their wards are facing. The MPs should trickle down to the problems that their people in their constituencies are facing. And so it goes up to the presidential level. When we understand this system, trust me, we're going to see a change. When somebody comes, no matter how much they have, if they are not keen on delivering good policies, good ideologies, we're doing away with them.
Okay. Now, Mr. Mwanza, during this debate that was taking place yesterday among young people, something came up, something emerged, and I think I would like you to weigh on it as well. That these young people have observed that whether it's councillor, MP, or whoever is aspiring for public office, right now what it is that it's scramble for Zambia to raise money for 2026. Everyone is in it to gain whatever they can gain, so that come 2026, their pockets will be fat. Councillors will be elevating themselves to contest as members of parliament. Those that are, for lack of a better term, they are chola boys, will be elevating themselves to be councillors. And those that are members of parliament, God willing, will elevate themselves to occupy presidential offices or contest as presidents. But these are serious matters, Mr. Mwanza, and I'm bringing it to you because it is said that the quality of leadership a nation has, it's its reflection.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that notion?
Most definitely. Because at the end of the day, the development of the nation is dependent on its leaders.
Okay.
The morality, the moral upgrade of a nation is dependent on its leaders.
Okay.
The dignity of a nation is dependent on its leaders. All these are coming from, leaders. If you are going to have immoral leaders, if you are going to have selfish leaders, if you are going to have leaders who have no interest in serving the people, then you are going to have a nation that is going to be degraded. You're going to have a nation that will wallow in poverty. You are going to have a nation that is going to be brought down to its knees. Now, with that being said, the question that we must ask ourselves right now is, what type of nation is Zambia today? It could be compared to 5 years ago, it could be compared to 20 years ago. But what type of a nation is Zambia today? Is Zambia on its knees? Is Zambia on its feet? Is Zambia a morally upright nation today? Or we need to be threatening people on media, we need to be threatening media houses, we need to be threatening people on social media, on their usage of social media. What type of a nation is Zambia today? And that is a reflection of the leaders, okay? Our leaders liars? Our leaders, true to their word?
Oh, wait. Let us not misuse words. There's a difference between a leader and a politician.
Oh, yes.
So maybe replace the word leader with politician.
No, but these politicians are occupying leadership positions.
Okay.
They are leading.
I get you now.
And that is the problem. You see, there are people that are supposed to be in political parties. I'll tell you the truth. There are people that are supposed to speak for political parties and not speak for the nation.
Okay.
And you will see them speak for the nation. Or speak to the nation on behalf of government.
And those are devoid of leadership.
Definitely. You see, we have given them a position that is bigger than them, bigger than their brain, bigger than what they can contain. That is a huge
You're
problem.
giving them too much.
You're giving them too much.
Okay.
And so, in a bid to try and seem like they're working, they'll come all the time, most of the times, appearing, even when they're saying things that don't make sense. I don't want to say nonsense because you will think it's not TV friendly.
Again, you're going to be
That's the thing.
Mr. Mwanda.
But the fact is that people talk too much and say nothing.
People talk too much
And say nothing. That is, and so they are forcing the nation to keep listening to them. But at the end of the day, are you done? So what was your point? What were you trying to bring across? Most of the times, the problem is that we've taken politicians, given them positions, even to speak to the nation, so when they come, they will discuss other politicians.
Okay.
We are not interested.
Okay. Mr. Mwanza, I was watching a clip from a developed economy in Europe where opposition political party leaders, including opposition aspirants, presidential aspirants, are seated on a round table, debating amicably, no insults, and trying to figure out ways of how they can continue spinning the wheels of their economy. That's in Europe.
Yeah.
Bring me back to Africa. It's hard for African leaders, political leaders, to sit and discuss issues on a round table together. It's even harder to see presidential candidates on a debate, on a panel debating, including the incumbent president at that particular time. I'm talking about successful governments here.
Okay.
Why is it difficult, from your observation, for African leaders to discuss issue-based politics, matters that affect the people? Classic example, Zambia. We have the issues of load shedding. We have the issues of the ever-increasing fuel prices. We have the issues of high unemployment rate. We have the issues of floods, recent floods. We have the issues right now on the Copper Belt where a water pipe, it burst yesterday, and the water is spilling over into somebody's yard, affecting houses, obviously. We have issues of the contamination of the Kafua River and other tributaries. And stakeholders, including political party leaders, opposition political party leaders, are not talking about these matters that affect the Zambian people, the ordinary Zambians. What's wrong with our politicians? Let me ask you this question as a young person.
The problem is that most of our politicians have nothing to offer.
Okay.
They don't have solutions. It's about being popular.
Okay.
This person is known in this area.
So it's populist politics.
That's what we practice in Zambia. Haven't you
Okay.
noticed? That's exactly what we practice in Zambia. You recall or you noticed that Costa MWANZA tried to put up that presidential debate program. When it's about, you will never see the incumbent participating.
Why is it like that? America does have the incumbent
and the aspiring
presidential candidate debating. That's what. Are we 100 years behind from these other economies? Let me find out, because I've seen the South African Parliament where a president goes there, he's asked questions from opposition political party leaders, and he begins to answer off the cuff. Not that you've got a speech, you begin to answer. But when it comes here, are we 100 years behind as a country? Let me find out. Maybe I'm living in a different planet or something.
Because of the system that we have created as a nation, where do you think somebody would get the confidence of saying my sitting organs are glued to the chair? Where do you think somebody would get that confidence from? It's not about the works that they have done. There should be something that is prompting them to speak like that. You understand? Because of the system that we are riding on, the system that we are riding with. It's not about what you've done. It's
So
not
has
about
this
what you can
system
do.
failed us? And I'm not talking about this system from 2021 to now. I'm talking about this system from 1991 to date. Has this system failed the Zambian people?
Most definitely it has failed the Zambian people, because today it's about, I give you something, give me your vote. Read here, politics is not church. I'll do whatever I can for me to win. For them, it's about winning. It's not about offering quality leadership. It's not about, service. It's not about servanthood. It's about winning at all costs. And that is why you have somebody with in the topmost position coming out and saying, why can't you just work and leave it to the Zambian people? When you work, when it's time for you to answer to the people, just come through and say, this is exactly what I have done. I'm asking for your vote in the next coming election so that I can continue on this project, on this trajectory. Not going around saying, oh, I'm glued, so I cannot be removed. There should be something prompting that.
Mr. Mwanza, I've seen politicians repeating the same speeches, repeating the same words. They go, for instance, they go to Eastern Province, same words. They go to the Southern Province, for instance, same words. They come back to Lusaka, same words. My question is, have our politicians run out of things to say to the Zambian people?
They don't have anything to say to the Zambian people because, look, every place, every area has got its distinct problems. Of course, there are problems that unite us, like the issues of the issues of load shedding, issues of floods. But there are the specific issues and problems that affect the people in Sparta, that affect the people in Kawambwa, that affect the people in MWANZA. You cannot go there. And the problem is that even the same message that is still circulating is a pathetic message that has got no use to the people. The problem you see, let me just land here.
Okay.
In as much as we have incompetent leaders, we also have somehow an incompetent citizenry. It should balance. If you're gonna have competent leaders, you must have competent citizens, because leaders come from the same citizens.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have a citizen that to some extent has now developed the celebration or celebrating of clowns, political infants, people with no ideologies, and these are people that are celebrated. And so you will see that no matter what I say here that is sensible, I can tell you that Zambia needs practical ideas. Zambia needs to, implement or inculcate a mindset of change that is going to come from the young people. That will not make headlines. But should I come here and say, Mambala Ujafunika Choke, that is what people will celebrate.
That's what we're trying.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Mwanza, allow me to go to this particular image that our director will put up on our screen, courtesy of Transparency International Zambia, TIZ. Now, I quote from the heading there, best and worst constituencies in spending constituency development funds, CDF, on projects. In blue, spend funds on community projects, then there's percentage there. There's an emoji of good there, and there it's bad. Okay, but let's start from the top. We have Lumezi constituency being spearheaded by independent member of parliament, Munia Zulu. When it comes to constituency development funds, spending it's 100%, according to Transparency International Zambia. We also have Kasanengwa, we have Chongwe, we have Chipangali, we have Luangeni, we have Malambo, we have Monza Central, we have Feira, we have Nimba at 99%, Feira 99%, and Chipata Central at 97%. These are the best performing constituencies when it comes to CDF application. Allow me to go to the worst. Number one, we have Kabushi constituency, and this is a constituency under the ruling United Party for National Development. We have Malole constituency, we have Sinazongwe constituency, we have Serenge Central, Chinsali, Kabwe Central, being headed by our mother, Madam Chrysosta. It's at 6% utilization of constituency development funds. We have Mbala, we have Solwezi Central, we have Kabwata constituency being led by Honorable Andrew Tayengwa at 3%. And we have the famous Dundumwezi at 0.4% utilization of constituency development fund. Now, Mr. Mwanza, what came out from this particular data that was put on our screen there is that most of the ruling party's constituencies are performing badly. And worst, let me use the words of Transparency International Zambia here. Worst performing constituencies are coming from the ruling party. And when you look at opposition members of parliament, when you look at independent member of parliament constituencies are performing well. What's going on here?
It's a reflection of the leaders that are constituted in the United National Development Party. So you see, when we increased CDF in that manner, there was need for capacity building. There was need for some sort of training, so that these people, these cadres who assume leadership positions should at least have the knowledge on how to handle such huge amounts of money. Back then, CDF was at 1.6. You jump from 1.6 to 27 to 23.7. That's a huge leap. You must train people. You must build capacity in people. That money has got capacity, has got potential to cause massive development.
Kabushi, Member of Parliament and former Lusaka Central Member of Parliament, Mr. MWANZA, when he said, my constituency doesn't have the capacity to manage this money, he was laughed at.
Exactly. You see, the problem is we think everything is about politics. He was right. I supported him on that one. Okay. And I knew that even though people are laughing, a lot of members of parliament do not have capacity to manage these funds. And even including the system itself on how to access that money is also cumbersome.
This is 2025. From 2021 to 2022, 2023, 2024, this is 2025. Yesterday I was watching Mulobezi Town Council appearing before Public Accounts Committee on Local Government, and the council secretary was being asked, this lady, she was being asked, you spent constituency development fund to go and attend the funeral somewhere, you used government money to do other things away from implementing projects. And she said sorry, and she kept on saying sorry, and at last she corrected herself and she said, I don't want to continue saying sorry. I don't want to continue saying sorry, but we're going to do the right thing. But here's the thing, and I liked what Member of Parliament, Honorable Nyambose, herself Member of Parliament, he said, let's be serious. Is this how we are going to misuse public funds? Is this how we are going to treat monies that are being taken to the people for development? Now, my question is, what happens to those erring officers? Because we have heard people saying sorry as far back as 2021. We have not seen arrests.
Yeah.
People have misappropriated public funds. People have misapplied public funds. They've been cited in the Auditor General's report. They've been cited in the FIC report. And these are government institutions, government agencies bringing this information to you, that there are people with long fingers dipping their fingers into public coffers. We haven't seen any arrests.
Well, again, a reflection of the leadership in place. You see, we were taught that corruption was going to be fought in all angles, in all manners. But we haven't seen any arrests. And in fact, this is a very serious conversation that you just brought up. We need to ask ourselves the questions of what happened to the names that were actually mentioned, the ministries that were mentioned.
Exactly.
Okay, SEC. Remember, the board was dissolved as a result of being, whistleblowing that these people are indulging in corruption, and nothing was done to the people. Nothing was done to the ministries mentioned. In fact, at that point, we even saw reshuffles. Okay, we saw the board being dissolved.
Yes.
I don't know if it was in an attempt to protect certain individuals. All right. We've seen, government leaders saying sorry and they are let scot-free. Some of us were almost rotting in jail for something that we did not do. Even though we apologize, even right now, comrade, because remember, there's a thin line between a freedom of expression and seditious practice. Because at the end of the day, seditious practice is just simply seducing people against or turning people against government. All right. So anything can be used as a form of seditious practice if I say government is failing.
But we shouldn't degenerate to those levels as a country. These are national matters. This is not somebody's private estate or a kantemba somewhere. This is a country, this is a nation, and politicians come and go. We've seen politicians come and go, Mr. MWANZA. Now, my question to you is, if, for instance, there's a statement that came yesterday where the Minister of Information was being told to say, leave people, let them express themselves via social media, stop those threats. Now, my question is, should we live in a country where there are no divergent views? Everyone should agree with what, for instance, government says at that particular time?
Well, you already know the answer to that. And comrade, you would make a good leader, a better leader than most of these politicians that we have in office today. It's very clear that the direction that the UPND is leading us into is a very bad one. And I always say this empathetically. I always say this sympathetically.
You are not saying this because you hate them.
No. I sympathize with them. I'm a sympathizer of UPND. Yes. That's one thing that people don't understand. I love UPND. I don't want them to fail. And I will tell them that as a sympathizer, UPND is heading in the wrong direction.
Okay. So wait, someone, Akim Kapaya, Kapawa. Yes, Akim Kapawa. Hope I pronounced that name correctly. Via our Facebook page. Don't lose your thought, Mr. MWANZA.
Yes.
He says, same applies to Mumbwa constituency.
Okay.
And these are constituencies that are being held by the ruling party.
Yes.
And there are allegations. It's there on social media. It went viral. I think it's difficult. Thomas Palo, who posted that, where this lady was complaining that she was a shareholder in this named company, which is owned by a named minister. And this company was given a government contract. Yeah. What happened to declaring interest?
Yes.
Why should we continue tolerating corruption when those that are holding these offices are using our own taxpayers' money, Mr. MWANZA, are misusing the Zambian people's monies when there's a child that is going to school on an empty stomach, even if there's free education, but that child comes back home to feed on a Palmera, Mr. MWANZA, to feed on cooking oil, yatumat plastic, those small ones. What when we have ministers that are saving right now free fuel, free airtime, air-conned offices, they are driven to and from, living luxurious lives. But they're the ones again that are getting contracts. They're the ones that are getting bursaries at University of Zambia when they've got the capacity to send their children to America or wherever. Why are we seeing this gap widening between the rich and the poor?
Again, I'll tell you...
Before you come back to your thought, please answer that.
I'll tell you again, you would make a better leader than most of these politicians that we have in offices, because you identify where problems are. You identify what is wrong. And so sitting here, I'm listening to you, and you're actually correct. You're on point.
You are the advocate.
Exactly, but you're doing my job, and you're very good at it, comrade. We should run in this field together. But I'll tell you something. I think, as you were explaining, it just drove me back to the 2021 elections. Perhaps the opposition was right when they said that voting in 2021 was not about voting leaders, UPND into power, but voting PF out of power. So perhaps that is why you are seeing that even though most of these people are in power today, they're still not working. They still can't operate.
People are not prepared.
They're not ready. They were not ready. And so they're not.
Because I saw individuals that were fired at mining companies and they just jumped on this particular ticket to say the UPND is adopting. They just jumped on it. And today they are sitting in government.
They're sitting exactly the point.
Let's look at your track record. Have you been a leader before? Have you even led the church choir at your church? A youth department.
Do you even have a passion for leadership?
Do you even have a passion for leadership? This is why, and put me on record, this is why we keep on asking these individuals to come for interviews here, so that we can ask them critical questions.
They'll never come. They can't.
And this is not only a matter of Camnet, but it's a matter of each and every media institution
They
out
cannot
there,
go anywhere.
they never show up for interviews.
They cannot, because they have nothing to offer. It was not into them. They were not prepared for this. And so the Zambian people were tired of Kadarism. And so they wanted to do away with Kadarism.
Okay.
And we've seen the Patriotic Front, we've seen they're now into Tonse Alliance, and we've seen them go around declaring that they were wrong on that aspect and they're coming back to do better. And that is going to be left to 2026 to the Zambian people, okay? But right now, what is critical is the fact, is the point that the people that are doing, the constituencies that are doing worse, far worse, are constituencies held by people in the ruling party.
Maybe we can see that image. It's not you saying,
No,
but
no,
it's
no.
the evidence that is there.
Even if that evidence wasn't there, I would still be the one to say.
Okay, let's look at that image, dear director, from Transparency International Zambia. It's not Mr. MWANZA who's saying it, but it's there in black and white. You are able to see the worst performing constituencies. And the question that we're asking is, the president has given a directive. Can CDF be used prudently? And look at independent members of parliament, look at opposition members of parliament. At least we have MWANZA Central there, Home Affairs Minister, Honorable Jack Mwimbu's constituency, performing exceptionally well at 100%. But look at these others. I'm interested in Kabwe Central because obviously I have ties to his constituency and Kabwe and Central Province. Look at it, at 6%. As if it doesn't have a member of parliament. Solwezi Central, same. The famous Dundumwenzi, where UPND always gets 100% votes, 0.4% utilization of Constituency Development Fund. The question is, Mr. MWANZA, as we wind up within 2 minutes, are these members of parliament understanding the directive of the president, or they are taking advantage of the president because he comes from our party, we will do this, won't be fired, won't be taken to task? And these are the least spoken MPs in parliament. I watch parliament every day. I'll be watching it today. These are the least spoken members of parliament.
There's things that you cannot change.
Okay.
Right? If someone is not a leader, they're just not a leader.
You can't force them.
You can't force them. You can't transform them. You can't change them into leaders. You know, in this period of 5 years. What is there in office? What is something is expected of them? These are the results that you get. 0.4%. Come on, that's
utilization of CDF.
That's zero. That's zero.
It's zero.
Just remove that, okay? Let it
remove the 4.
Blank. Yes. What is it? What did they do? They went to the funeral. Is that what the
development funds?
Is that what the 4% represents? That's what it worked. Come on, those are jokes. So the fact is that whatever you are seeing there, whatever you are seeing in your constituencies, and I told the UPND government to say, when you were buying those land cruisers for CDF monitoring, you were wasting money. People themselves are going to monitor what CDF is doing in their constituencies. All right, those 700,000 land cruisers were supposed to go from irrigation processes. Remember, we're coming from last year we had very bad rainfall.
As we begin to conclude, Mr. MWANZA.
Yes, please. We would have used that money for something else. And ourselves, we are seeing whether CDF is working or not. And I can tell you for a fact that it is not working. So maybe those graphs don't work properly. Maybe some of the people have not understood. Maybe the UPND members have not understood. What those graphs simply mean is that most of the constituencies, especially held by UPND leaders, are doing bad, pathetically bad, including Kabushi that was gotten from Bowman Lusambo. It's very bad. It's at 8%. Okay, there it is. It's at 8%. And that tells you that this is more about elections and not about the people. And you have look at Chinsari, 7%. You've got Kabwata at 3%.
And Kabwata was being pronounced. I know individuals in the Kabwata constituency office that were telling me in confidence that this is the best performing constituency. We have made roads of pavers. It's the best performing constituency in Zambia. However, numbers don't lie. We have 3% coming from Kabwata constituency, a constituency domiciled right here in the capital city of Zambia at 3%. Then you have a rural constituency like Lumezi constituency at 100%, being led by an independent member of parliament, Mr. MWANZA. As we go, Youth Day is coming up,
Yes.
Women's Day is coming up. What is your word to the youths out there, to our women out there? This is Women's Week, so
Yes.
we are celebrating our
Yes,
women.
definitely.
So let me get your final words, and also as we go, weigh in on the parliamentarians, weigh in on the SONA State of the Nation address, and also the economic challenges that Zambia is facing. In a minute, Mr. MWANZA, you're a good summarizer.
Thank you so much. Let me thank all the women for the job well done, all the mothers out there. On this note, it's very sad that a 20-year-old boy was just recently arrested for raping his own mom. That is very unfortunate. We need to protect our women. I also want to thank those women who've held office, and they've done exceptionally well. These are mother figures. I know of Reverend Sumaili, who is did exceptionally well. She's still a mother figure to go to many children, including me. I know of Mombi Piri. I know of a lot of them. Okay, happy Women's Day to all of them. I also want to say to the youth that this is our time. We need to rise up. We need to be on our feet, and we need to fight to regain the dignity of our nation. I want to tell the UPND that your opposition, your biggest opposition, is the Zambian people. The biggest opposition is the price of mini meal, not Patriotic Front, not Tonse Alliance. All right, leave those matters. You work and let the people of Zambia decide on their own. And I also want to say to the nation generally that as we are heading forward, going into 2026, let us look beyond pockets of political aspirants. Let us look at ideologies. Let us look at ideas that are going to develop the nation even 50 years to come. And to the president himself, President Hakainde Hichilema, the Zambian people want work. They want actions. We don't want speeches. We want actions. Act, work, and please mind, your seat is very sensitive. Mind what you say. That chair is not up to you to decide whether you are going to stay or be glued to it. It is up to us, the Zambian people. This is a democracy. We are the ones who have got the power to decide whether you will stay or not. So be very mindful of what you say, because your statements are, very sensitive, as you are the president of this nation.
Okay, fantastic. Mr. MWANZA, thank you so much for coming through and for being with us at this particular morning. We do appreciate you, and continue your activism and advocacy. We can only wish you God's blessings.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to the Zambian people.
Okay, so today is Police Day, and obviously we are shining a light on our men and women in uniform. I wish a happy Police Day to Seke Mchaila, a brother and friend, Inspector Kameli as well, and also Mr. Mayamba Central Police, and also Mr. Ray Hamonga, the spokesperson, Mr. Godfrey Chilabi as well, Mr. Kabomba, okay, from obviously North Mid, and obviously Mr. Kambilima, North Mid as well. And we appreciate you. If I haven't mentioned you, I do apologize, but you know that I wish you a happy Police Day to our men and women in uniform. Thank you so much for being so hardworking, and we do appreciate you. Enjoy your day. Make sure that you do the needful. Jombo Yadina Mwami. Thank you very much, Mr. MWANZA, and thank you, the viewers, the major stakeholders in this program. My director upstairs, thank you for the extra minutes. We'll see you when you see us. Bye-bye, and God bless.